नमस्ते दोस्तों, मेरा नाम है तान्या चौहान और आज हम पढ़ने वाले हैं चैप्टर 11 ट्रांसपोर्टेशन इन एनिमल्स एंड प्लांट्स NCERT क्लास 7। तो हम सबको पता है कि कुछ वाइटल इंग्रेडिएंट्स हैं जो हमें सर्वाइवल के लिए नेसेसरी होते हैं। वह है फूड, वाटर एंड ऑक्सीजन। फूड, वाटर एंड ऑक्सीजन, ये हमें सर्वाइवल के लिए चाहिए होते हैं। नाउ अब ये हमारी बॉडी में आ तो गए और हमें इन्हें ट्रांसपोर्ट करने की भी ज़रूरत पड़ती है। इन्हें हम ट्रांसपोर्ट कैसे करते हैं? आपने चैप्टर 2 में पढ़ा है कि डाइजेस्टेड फूड फ्रॉम द स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन gets absorbed into the blood vessels. Where does that blood vessels go and where do they transport? Where is the end point or the destination of that of that digested food? You have also read in respiration chapter, respiration in organisms, that the oxygen filtered from the lungs goes into the blood vessels or absorbs into the blood vessels. Where does that oxygen goes and how does that oxygen goes? And the waste that is in the blood, where does that gets filtered out? All your questions will be answered in this chapter. Now, what is blood? Blood is the fluid that flows in the blood vessels. Now, why have you seen getting a cut on your body and blood flowing out? You have always seen that the blood is red in color. Why is it red? And how does it carry so much ingredients in it? For example, oxygen, food, digested food, oxygen, waste, etc. अब आपको भी पता होगा कि अगर आपके पास कोई ज़्यादा थिक चीज़ है या फिर सब्सटेंस है तो उसे फ्लो करने में मुश्किल होती है. दैट इज़ वाई ब्लड इज़ मेड अप ऑफ अ फ्लूइड पार्ट कॉल्ड प्लाज्मा. दिस इज़ composed of water. Plasma is the fluid part of blood. Now, if there is blood in the if there is water in the blood, what are the thing that makes the blood red? The answer for this question is red blood cells, who are red in color because of hemoglobin, a pigment present in them like chlorophyll in leaves. Now, what is the work of hemoglobin? Hemoglobin का काम होता है, it binds up with oxygen and carbon dioxide and food and waste and transport it to the rest of the body and the cells. Now, it will be difficult to provide oxygen efficiently to all the cells of the body without hemoglobin because it is the only substance in the blood that can carry substances along with it or bind with it. Now, what is white blood cells? White blood cells are white in color as their name suggests. White blood cells हमारे शरीर में एंटर किए हुए जर्म से लड़ते हैं, which fight against the germs that may enter our body. And when we get fever, the WBC fighting with the germs that may enter our body, WBC, the fever, whenever the fever occurs, जब भी आपको बुखार आता है, then your WBC are smaller than the amount of germs that may enter our body. Now, what is a clot? Have you ever seen that the blood that comes out when you have a cut or you got injured clots and a dark black brown spot is formed? Why is that formed? This is because another type of cells in the blood called platelets. Platelets क्या होती हैं? प्लेटलेट्स एक और टाइप का सेल होता है जो क्लॉटिंग में हेल्प करते हैं. द डेफिनेशन ऑफ प्लेटलेट्स वुड बी अ सेल प्रेजेंट इन द ब्लड दैट हेल्प्स इन द क्लॉटिंग ऑफ ब्लड. व्हाट आर ब्लड वेसल्स नाउ? ब्लड वेसल्स आर द ट्यूब्स, आर द थिन or thick tubes which carry blood inside them. Now, we know that blood is composed of many parts. Now, what is blood vessel composed of? Blood vessel is just a tube present in our body. it carries blood within it. Now, blood vessels are of two types, which are arteries and veins. These are present in our body to transport numerous things. Arteries carry oxygenated blood or oxygen-rich blood into them. Remember this. Arteries carry oxygenated blood or oxygen-rich blood in them from heart to all parts of the body. Since the blood flow is rapid and at a high pressure, the arteries have thick elastic walls. इसे मैं एक और सिंपल भाषा में समझना चाहें तो ये है हमारा हार्ट. आपको पता होना चाहिए कि हार्ट जब ब्लड को पंप करता है तो दैट कैन गो अप टू 30 feet. Now if it pumps the blood into the arteries, the artery may get damaged and the blood may flow out all the way from the arteries और blood body में ही गिर जाएगा. And if that happens, we will be dead. To prevent this from happening, arteries have thick walls surrounding the blood. And in the veins, on the other hand, when the arteries meet them, the blood flow or the blood pressure gets low, and of course the respiration in the cells also gets there. सारा का सारा जो rapid pressure है वो arteries में होता है, and this is just because of the pumping of heart beat too fast and it pumps the blood up to 30 feet. अगर ये ऐसा करता है तो of course the artery wall could get damaged and all the blood could flow out from the vessels. Now, what is pulse rate? Pulse rate is the Now, what is pulse rate? Pulse rate is not the continuous contraction and relaxation of the heart muscles. This is because of the continuous heart relaxation and contraction of the heart muscles which causes the beating of the heart, which is called the heartbeat. But how is heartbeat different from pulse rate? Pulse rate is the flow in the arteries and heartbeat is the continuous pumping of heart or the continuous contraction and relaxation of heart muscles. The pulse rate per minute are called the pulse rate. Usually, a person in resting position has 78 and 80 beats per minute. Now, you have to find other places in our body where you can record the pulse. We can find the pulse first of all in the inside of our left wrist. Left wrist. Next, we can find it at the back of neck, and last but not least at the chest. Now, veins. What are veins? Veins are the vessels which carry carbon dioxide rich blood from all parts of the body back to the heart. अब arteries तो heart से. Now, arteries carry oxygen rich blood from all parts from heart to all parts of the body. This is the heart and this is the artery. And this is the vein. What is the difference between them? Let's suppose these are the lungs. The lungs carry oxygenated blood in the heart, and the arteries carry oxygenated blood from all parts of the body. Now, the cells perform respiration and the deoxygenated blood is carried back from the veins to the heart and again into the lungs. We can understand it here. Now, here Another two arteries and veins are shown: pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein. These are totally opposite to them. Artery is vein and vein is artery. Why is it so? Because because pulmonary artery is the only artery that carries deoxygenated blood, and pulmonary vein is the only vein which carries oxygenated blood. But why is it so? Why is this an artery and why is this a vein after that? This is just because artery runs from the heart to the other parts of the body. Same is with pulmonary artery. It runs from the heart to the lungs. And the same is with the vein. It runs all the way from the body to the heart. And the pulmonary vein carries the blood from the lungs to the vein, to the heart. Now, what are capillaries? Capillaries are the vessels that divide into that are arteries which divide into smaller vessels upon reaching the tissues. Tissues are groups of cells. For example, this is a tissue. So these are the cells. You have read in chapter 1 what does a cell compose of. Now, upon reaching the cells, for example, this is a cell. Let's suppose this is a cell. Now this is an artery running here and this is a vein running here. A capillary dividing from the artery reaches the cell. It stays out of the cell and mixes upon reaching the vein. This is artery and this is vein. Now, do you understand the difference between an artery and a vein? Now, what is an heart? Heart एक पंप है जो कंटिन्यूसली बीट करता रहता है ट्रांसपोर्ट ब्लड के ट्रांसपोर्ट के लिए. Now, what happens if the heart is not there? If the heart is not there in the body, the blood will not run because the heart is the only pump that beats in the body for 24 hours and 7 days without stopping. Now, what happens if the heart is not present in a body? The blood will not pump and hence the blood will stay in one place and clot because of the platelets present in the blood. And if it happens so, we will not remain in the world. Now, heart is located in the chest cavity with slower tip slightly tilted towards the left. अब आपको समझ में आया कि हमने respiration in organisms chapter में क्यों पढ़ा था कि left lung is smaller than the right lung. This is because the left lung has to give place to the heart. Now, the heart is roughly the size of a fist. आप अपनी मुट्ठी बनाएंगे, आपका दिल बस आपके फिस्ट के ही साइज का है. What will happen in the blood rich in oxygen mixes with the blood rich in carbon dioxide? To avoid this from happening, the heart has 4 chambers. The upper 2 chambers are called the atria. This is the atrium, left atrium and right atrium. Let me zoom in for you. Left atrium and right atrium and right ventricle and left ventricle. Now, what is the difference between them? Right atrium and right ventricle, they both carry the blood from the veins, and the left atrium and the left ventricle carry oxygenated blood or the blood from the arteries. This is the pulmonary artery and this is the pulmonary vein. These both run adjacent to each other but to the lungs. What is vena cava and aorta? Vena cava is the main vein and aorta is the main artery. This is easy to remember as vein consists of V and the first letter of vena cava is always from V. Same with aorta. Let's come up to here. What is the partition and why is it so? This is so because to prevent the mixing of the blood rich in carbon dioxide along with the blood rich in oxygen. Now, what causes an heartbeat? A heartbeat is the continuous relaxation and contraction of heart muscles. Like this is the relaxation and this is the contraction. If it continues like this, it will cause a beat in the heart or in the chest cavity. Now, heartbeat. The walls of the chambers of heart are made up of muscles. These muscles contract and relax rhythmically. This rhythmic contraction followed by its relaxation constitute a heartbeat. Remember that heartbeats continue every moment of our life. If you place your hand on the left side of your chest, you can feel your heartbeat. The doctor feels your heartbeat with the help of an instrument called a stethoscope. Now, how do you imagine a doctor? You imagine a doctor, a man standing right in front of you, holding an injection, wearing a white coat, and with a small garland type something in his leg, which is something like this. Am I right? Yes, this is what, when we hear of the doctor, what senses us like. Why is it so? This is because an instrument called the stethoscope is always or almost always present in the neck of a doctor. This stethoscope is used to test the heartbeat of an organism. These tubes are called the earpieces. If you apply, if this is a face and you want to test your heartbeat, you're going to apply this earpieces right here. The tube's going to extend all the way here and the chest piece will be on your chest, placed on your chest. Now the heartbeat will get recorded from here and all the way will get heard in your ears. Now how to make a stethoscope. Take a small funnel of about 6 well मम्मा ये कट कर सकते हो आप. Now let us see the mouth. What is the difference between the pulse rate and the heartbeat? We already studied the difference between the pulse rate and the heartbeat, but what if a heartbeat is more than the number of heartbeats expected? This is because when we need more energy, our lungs, we breathe heavily. When we breathe heavily, oxygen is again and again reflected in our lungs. It reaches again and again from the pulmonary vein to our heart and is carried all the way through the arteries. This causes fast heartbeat or pulse rate. Now, pojovators, if sponges and hydra, do also have blood. No, these animals do not possess any blood because these are unicellular organisms. The water which they live in provides them with utilities. For example, a food grain that we also read about in chapter 1. fruit grain is here, it absorbs all the way to it. A food vacuole is present in there. It digests the food particle and the waste is all the way excreted through the embryo or any other unicellular organism, just like that. So they do not need any circulatory system. Now, how do animals excrete? Recall how carbon dioxide and waste from the body is removed from the body through lungs from exhalation. Also recall how the undigested food is removed during digestion. And to also remember that we sweat during the summer. Let us now find how the other waste materials are removed from these and also how these unwanted materials come from. As cells perform their functions, certain waste products are released. These are toxic and hence need to be removed from the body. The process of removal of waste produced in the cell of the living organism is called excretion. The parts involved in the excretion form the excretory system. The waste which is present in the blood has to be removed from the body. How can this be done? A mechanism or a machine to filter the blood is required. This is done by the blood capillaries in the kidneys. When the blood reaches the kidneys, it contains both types of components, useful and harmful. The useful substances are absorbed back in the blood and waste are dissolved in water and removed as urine. From the kidneys, the urine goes into the urinary bladder through the ureters. There are two kidneys, two ureters, urinary bladder, urethra and urinary opening. The tube-like ureters transport all the urine into the urinary bladder where it is stored. It is passed all the way from the urethra to the urinary opening to excrete. An adult human being normally passes about 1 to 1.8 liter of urine in 24 hours. The urine consists of 95% water, 2.5% urea and 2.5% other waste products. We all have experienced that we sweat on a hot summer day and sometimes even in cold winter days when we exercise. The salt contains water and salts. Bujo has seen that sometimes in summer, white patches or yellow patches are formed on our clothes, especially like areas under our underarms. These marks are left by salt present in the sweat. Does sweat serve any function? Yes, sweat serves the function to cool the body down. This is because, let's take an example of an eaten pot. Why is the water in that matka cooler? This is because of the water evaporates from the pores of the pot, which causes cooling. We can also see this in plant. When in the form of transportation. In chapter 1, you have learned that plants take water and mineral nutrients from the soil through roots and transport it to the leaves. The leaves prepare food for the plant using water and carbon dioxide during photosynthesis. You have also learned in chapter 10 that food is the source of energy. Of every cell of organism gets energy by breaking down of glucose. The cell uses this energy to carry out vital activities of life. Therefore, food must be made available to every cell of an organism. Have you ever wondered how water and nutrients absorbed by the root are transported to the leaves? How is the food prepared by the leaves carried to the plants which cannot make food? Now, as the blood vessels are in our body, plants have similar tubes which are called vessels. The root hair increase the surface area for the root for absorption of the water. For example, this is the root, this is soil. Let's take this is soil. This is the plant. And now this is the root. Or this is the root. Now this is all the water and minerals. It is transported by the roots and transported to all the parts of the plants, including the leaves and the stem. The leaves prepare food for the plants by a useful process called photosynthesis, and the rest water is evaporated through the pores present in the leaves, which are called stomata. This process is called transpiration. But how does the water move from the root to the leaves, and what kind of transport system is present in the plants? Well, the vessels are made up of special cells forming the vascular tissue. A tissue is a group of cells that perform specialized function in an organism. A vascular tissue for the transport of water and nutrients in the plant is called xylem. That means if let's take black color to be xylem and yellow color to be phloem. This is the soil. Let's take this to be the soil and this to be the plant. This to be the water and this to be all the nutrients and the minerals. Now here are the roots. Now these roots absorb and the phloem and xylem transport it to all parts of the plant. Now xylem transports water and nutrients, and phloem transports the food prepared by the leaves to all the parts of the plant. Now, what is transpiration? In class 6, you have learned that the plants release a lot of water by the process of transpiration. Where does this water come from? This is the excess water that is absorbed by the roots in the plants, and this is released by the pores present in the leaves called the stomata. Now, plants absorb minerals and nutrients and water from the soil. Not all water is absorbed and utilized by the plant. This evaporates, and this is called the process of transpiration. The evaporation of water from leaves generates a suction pull, the same that you produce when you suck juice or water through a straw, which can pull water to great heights in the tall trees. Transpiration also cools down the plant same as the sweat does. Now, do you remember trees such as Bibosa? This is a huge tree which has a water storage thing in here. It has a shape, and here are all its leaves and whatever, and here water is stored. Its roots are here to great lengths, and this plant can be stable in the desert. These last to very long distances. Now let us do the exercise. नहीं, okay.
बाद में कर लेना, तुझे प्रैक्टिस करना है.
नहीं ठीक है.
स्टॉप करो.
बाय क्या करना है?
पॉज है.
नहीं पॉज. थैंक यू एंड बाय.